Welcome to Simply Fun's online school of playology. In Gumball Words, Simply Fun's newest strategy game, players move around the Gumball Machine game board by following the directions found on Gumball letter tiles and collect those tiles as they go. The player who uses those letter tiles to build the best words at the end of the game wins. You can play Gumball Words with 2 to 4 players ages 8 and up. Gumball Words helps players learn about spelling and vocabulary skills as they choose which letters they want to use when building words. Gumball Words also helps players to learn strategy as they determine which pathways to travel, always trying to look at least 2 turns ahead, staying in the game for as long as possible. To set up Gumball Words, first place the game board in the center of the play area. The board should lay flat when unfolded. Remove the scorecard from the box and place it next to the game board in view of all players. This scorecard shows players how to score their words at the end of the game. Give each player a coin pawn and a matching color starting tile. Each player should place their starting tile onto the game board 1 space diagonally, away from one of the corners. Now, randomly fill each space on the game board with letter tiles from the box until all 64 spaces are filled. For example, if there are 4 players, you will place 60 letter tiles on the game board. For a 2-player game, 62 tiles. The game board and letter tiles are magnetic, so they should stay in place. Once the game board is filled, put all the remaining letter tiles in the box. Each player's coin pawn should then be placed on top of their starting tile. The object of Gumball Words is to stay in the game as long as possible, collecting as many letter tiles as you can to build words and score the most points. If you run out of movement options, then you must remove your pawn from the game board. So be strategic when choosing which path to take. The player who can build the highest scoring words at the end of the game wins. On each player's first turn, they may choose to move their coin pawn from the starting tile to any letter tile that is 1 space away in any direction, including diagonally. This action is depicted on the starting tiles, the coin in the center, surrounded by open spaces to choose from. After this first turn, each player must follow the movement instructions found on the bottom of each letter tile. On every turn, players will use the movement instructions found on the letter tiles to determine where they can go next. The movement instructions are found below the letter on each tile, and there are 7 different possible moves. The 2 dots mean that the coin pawn can move to any of the letter tiles that are right next to it, meaning 1 space up, down, left, or right. Players may not move diagonally for this movement type. The 3 side-by-side dots allow the pawn to move 2 spaces in any direction. Notice both outside dots are outlined in black, which throughout the game denotes the starting and stopping places allowed on each set of movement instructions. The smaller inside dots represent the spaces the coin pawn will travel through. The 3 dots that form a triangle allow the coin pawn to move 1 space over and then 1 space up or down. The result is that the coin pawn may move diagonally 1 space in any direction. The next 2 movement types may look very similar, but they are opposites and will direct the coin pawn to different end locations. Keep in mind that players may start these movement instructions by going in any of the 4 directions they want, up, down, left, or right. But once the initial direction is determined, players must follow the movement instructions exactly. This movement instructs the coin pawn to move forward 1 space, then move right 1 space, and then move left 1 space. This movement instructs the coin pawn to move forward 1 space, then move left 1 space, and then move right 1 space. The next 2 movement types are like the previous 2 in that they are opposites of one another and will direct the pawn to different end locations. This movement type directs players to either move their pawns forward 2 spaces and then move right 1 space, or to move down 1 space and then move left 2 spaces. This movement type directs the pawn to move forward 2 spaces and then move left 1 space, or to move down 1 space and then move right 2 spaces. Following the movement instructions, each player moves once per turn. Every time a pawn moves off a letter tile, players pick up that letter tile and place it in front of them. So the destination tile on one turn becomes the tile that determines the movement during the next turn. By looking at their location on the game board and what letter tiles are around them, players can start to chart a pathway that allows them to build the best words possible and can see where empty spaces on the game board may hinder their ability to continue. At the start of each turn, players will look at the tile their coin pawn is on and follow the movement instructions to decide where to move next. Keep in mind that only one coin pawn could be on a letter tile at the same time. After each move, players collect the tile the pawn started from and place it in front of them, and their turn is now over. Play continues with the next player. Players keep taking turns as long as they can move to a new letter tile. If they are unable to move to a letter tile, they may not take any more turns. This is why it is important to look as far ahead as possible. The remaining players may continue taking turns and earning letter tiles until they are unable to move to a new letter tile. Once players have removed their coin pawns from the game board, they begin to use all the letter tiles that they have collected to build words and score points. Players should refer to the scorecard to help them build the highest scoring words possible. Note that words must contain at least 2 letters. No single letter words are allowed. Words may be overlapped to share letters or spelled separately so that they are not touching. Words may only be spelled vertically or horizontally. Any letter tiles that are next to each other must spell a word. Letters must be used correctly. The movement instructions are always below the letter, so an M cannot be used as a W. The starting tile is wild and can count for any letter. If the starting tile is used to spell 2 different words, it must be the same letter in both words. No proper names, abbreviations, acronyms, conjunctions, or words that require a space or hyphen are allowed. Players should try their best to use all their letter tiles and their starting tile. They must deduct 1 point for each letter tile they do not use, and deduct 10 points if they do not use their starting tile. Once players have created the highest value words they can use the scorecard to total their points and deduct points for any unused tiles. The player with the most points wins. In case of a tie, each player tells a story using all of their words. The player with the best story wins. Collect loads of letters and build big words to win big with Gumball Words.